What's up, y'all? Silky Smooth. Another episode. Smooth experience. And I know that you can't go through life without having fun. You know what I'm saying? So that's the point of why I do this, is to have fun, to end up talking about the news, to give you the updates on what's going on, and basically just to document as well all the things that are interesting to me. And also so that way you guys could follow along, you can see with it. I'm going to be launching a course soon on how to make some passive crypto coins. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anyways, tonight I got something cool that I want to talk about that is just kind of interesting to see how the evolution of how things play out. And it's interesting because, like, I've been talking a lot about somebody else on my channel, and that's Dimon. And I'm not trying to talk too much about too many people on my channel unless there's like a good reason, you know. But I also want to shout out all the other YouTubers that are like giving me lots of inspiration, like such as Trevon James, Jedi Knight, Craig Grant, Coin Mastery, Crypto Trading Pro, all you guys. Like, it's awesome that you guys are out there. It's awesome that you guys are making videos and that you guys are supporting people. Crypto Nick, Crypto Mike, just all kinds of people, man. Follow these guys. Check these guys out on YouTube because, you know, it's part of what's giving me my inspiration. And, you know, we got to band together, y'all. Like, we got to end up just basically, you know, just representing this in a good way. And here's what I'm talking about is like, you know, today is something that's kind of interesting. It came out where it says that, you know, the title of this video is Bitcoin could land you in prison. And that is crazy. But is it really? And let me explain why. So like right here is like this article about CEO JP Morgan. You know this dude. This dude, he's in cartoon form here. Here's his real picture. This is what he really looks like. Cartoon's kind of nice. But check this out. So basically, Jamie Dimon's like taking these stabs at Bitcoin so hard recently, and he's doing it publicly, but yet in the private he's buying up a lot of Bitcoin. And what's really interesting about all this is that, you know, if you had clients that you were purchasing this stuff for, but then you were also talking bad about it in the mainstream, well, there's going to be some interesting things that are going to come about it. So take a look at this. In another statement that will clearly have cryptophiles fuming. I'm not fuming. I'm not even worried. I'm just like showing you guys the progression of this. Jamie Dimon is basically saying that cryptos to me are worth nothing. That's interesting, bro, because if it's worth nothing, why are you buying so much of it? He was serious in his warning that as cryptocurrencies grow, governments will begin to control them and eventually ban them, throwing those who buy and sell them into prison. And this commentary does not reflect the wider governmental acceptance of Bitcoin in the news, but seems to be more in line with the Chinese government rhetoric. And what this is here is that's basically saying that China is heavily going to crack down on all Bitcoin trades, and they have. They've definitely been just making it known that they don't want Bitcoin to be used. And it's interesting because, you know, there's so much fake news out there that it's really hard to follow what's going on. And, you know, at any point like this, I could be wrong about this, but like, it's just so interesting to see how these things are playing out and how the media is able to have these stories play out in front of us. And what's really interesting here is just he's saying that like those who buy and sell them will be put into prison. Another thing is that, you know, this is really interesting because this guy has a lot of power with the government, and a lot of times you can see somebody that uses like their bank and their prowess for what they do, and they use that in ways that they can get benefit out of that. And what I see here is that it seems like, you know, these banks are going to start to get together and start to put pressure on the government and say, you know, this is getting too big, this is getting too out of control, and you have to regulate this. And no matter what, you know, they're going to end up being able to say, You know, you can either say no. The government could either say no, they could either say yeah, but either way, the banks fund the government right now, at least. And that's an opportunity for cryptos, I think, as well as it's something interesting where you could see that, ah, man, these types of things being played out right now are the things that shape our society. They're the ways that we're able to end up doing our business in the future. They're the ways that we're able to trade with each other in the future. And I am loving the way that Bitcoin is allowing people, and just other cryptocurrencies, it's allowing people to participate in projects that are advancing the globe, that are doing things to better manage the resources. And the people that currently manage the resources, they haven't been asked for permission if these cryptocurrencies and these other things can come in and, I don't know, I guess facilitate the commerce that dollars used to facilitate, but the barrier of entry for cryptos is like here. And that's the point, is that like when the barrier of entry is so much lower and you don't need an ID, you don't need a citizenship, you don't need a bank account, you don't need all of these things to use cryptocurrencies. That's when it becomes so much more attractive than like having to go and get an ID and having to get a bank account and then having to work to get those dollars to put those into that bank account, get taxed on the way into the bank account, and also monitored for every little thing that's being spent. And that's hard for them to see right now because they can't track this stuff, and it's blowing up so fast that of course they're going to want to control this. So if you see that these governments here, like, they're going to end up facing pressure from these banks. So what I could say to all of us is that, like, hey, let's just represent these things in a beautiful fashion, guys. Let's stand up with honor with cryptocurrencies and say, you know, of course there's going to be some negligent and illegitimate behavior that happens with cryptocurrencies. It's going to happen everywhere, and it's necessary for it to happen because that's going to end up giving opportunities for other cryptocurrencies to take its place, for other things to end up being able to fill the gap where there is one right now. And obviously there's huge gaps, and that's why Bitcoin is so amazing. So that's also why Jamie Dimon is going to be buying into it. Everybody is buying into it, and he wanted to make sure that he has a hefty position into it, or at least JP Morgan does. And that's kind of interesting, you know, because if that's really the case and the government is going to be putting people in jail, then like he's like, I guess, representing a company that's asking to be put in jail. So help me to understand that. Anyways, like, I know I'm saying some interesting things on this channel that some may not agree with, and that's just fine, and I totally respect your guys' views too. But, you know, this is just the way that I'm feeling right now. And here's another thing. Because of what happened the other day, because of him slamming Bitcoin and then buying into such a big purchase, well, now he's facing market abuse charges. And so it's pretty interesting because the company Blockswater filed a complaint against the CEO of JP Morgan, saying that he violated Article 12 of the European Union's market abuse regulation by declaring that Bitcoin was a fraud. And then basically after that, not only did it affect the reputation of Bitcoin, this is what their guys' suit is. They harmed the interest of some of his own clients. See, because, you know, now his own clients hold Bitcoin, and they actually, his representatives of his company, acting on behalf of his clients, decided that it was a smart financial decision to buy into this fraud that Jamie Dimon just went out and publicly talked about. So CEO just went out and talked about it and said, this stuff is a fraud, guys. Well, if the company was aligning behind him and standing behind that and truly believing it, well, then they would have let Bitcoin crash into the ground. And honestly, if it really was a fraud, my man, why would you even need to talk about it? Why would you even need to waste time with such a small little thing that's a fraud that doesn't really matter? You know what I mean? Unless it is a big thing and it's a big deal and it's not a fraud and it's something that's more legitimate than the fraud that's going on with these dollars and how they're created. So I'm just saying, weigh the facts, make your own decisions. But yeah, look at this. After he went out and talked crap about Bitcoin, his representatives of his company thought it was going to be a smart decision to purchase a fraud. That's basically what that company's actions were saying. So, of course, he's going to end up getting some suits. I don't even think this is going to be the first suit. I think that there's going to be many people that are going to have lots of funds in cryptocurrencies that may join on to this suit and join into like a class action lawsuit or something against him, against the whole company. I don't know. Um, I'm not trying to end up rallying anybody one way or the other on this channel. I'm always just speaking my view. There are times that, like, I'll say my view and make requests, but those are requests and not guarantees. And I request right now that, we just all come together on this. We end up seeing that this is a great currency. This is something that's beautiful, that's taking over the world, and it's helping us all see that we can buy into something equally. And it doesn't have to be lopsided like it is currently with the fiat systems. So China, it's already banned Bitcoin a lot. It's banned it so much. And you guys want to see what happens when you buy into something and then it turns out to be a scam? Look at this. Here's a video on Twitter basically showing what happens when one of these companies just packs up their office and they just leave overnight. This is OKCoin. This is what their offices look like now. This is why I'm saying, guys, we can lose our money at any minute with any of these companies, and I'm okay with the funds that I've put in. And these are risks that we use, that we take when we use these vehicles such as like Bitconnect and USI Tech and those other things. And so it's up to us to be doing our research to see if we still want to make those decisions. And on this channel, I'll give you a little bit of my research too. It's starting to turn into a lot of news though, so who knows. Anyways, check this out. This is OKCoin's office right now. You can look this up on Twitter. Wow. Look at that place. It is bare bones. You guys remember the Wolf of Wall Street? Wolf on Wall Street? That's what this reminds me of, man. And so this is what happens when you end up having something where inside your offices you get so nervous about what happens. You got to pack up shop and go and just leave overnight. And that's what happened with OKCoin. That's what could happen with some of these other coins. And as we're seeing it already, a lot of these ICOs that are starting up now are starting up and allowing the rest of the world to participate but the USA. And so that's something that is going to, I feel, tempt a lot of people to end up maybe going to a place where maybe they can participate in ICOs. Maybe they'll end up like writing the representatives here and seeing like, hey, representatives, can you help us accept ICOs, make our country more attractive to ICOs? Because there's a lot of ICOs out right now that, like, yeah, you can't go and participate in them. I can't go to I can't remember what the site is. It's not Bittrex. It's not. Oh, it's BitMEX. You go to bitmex.com. Look at this. Okay. You try to register. Look at this. You're just seconds away from trading. After an email confirmation, you may deposit and trade immediately. Yay, I'm ready to go, right? No unrestricted jurisdictions. At this time, BitMEX cannot serve customers in your country. You may still create an account, but you will be unable to deposit. If you wish to try simulated trading, please try our bot. So you see, guys, this is something that I don't want to see starting to happen with all ICOs going forward. And so that's why I'm saying, like, let's go ahead and stand up. Let's support this stuff in a good way, in a way that's honorable, in a way that's tactful, in a way that we can show, our governments and like these banks that like, hey man, like this isn't a fraud like you think it is, obviously, since you're buying into it. And as it is right now, like I'm in this because I love being able to mine Bitcoin. I love being able to create it because the other alternative is just letting the central bank create it. And like that's just not as attractive to me, as being able to set up a couple graphics cards in the corner of my room and being able to verify transactions for all of us on the Bitcoin network. It's not as attractive as, I don't know, investing into Genesis mining or, investing into these other projects where people are super excited to help out with the planet. And I feel that's the way it should be. That is attractive to me. And I feel that even in the future, as we end up seeing here, the funniest part is JP Morgan right now is making his own cryptocurrency. And this is what's so interesting. You go to jpmorgan.com, you'll see Quorum, advancing blockchain technology. What they're doing is they're going to end up getting together and they're going to show the governments, hey, we have a blockchain that we approve of, and we want you guys to go ahead and allow people to use our blockchain and not put them into prison if they use our cryptos and our blockchain. So I'm wondering, if in the future, will it end up being something where it's going to be, you will be put into prison if you use Bitcoin because the governments can't track it and they want to stop terrorism. But you won't be put into prison if you use Quorum because that's JP Morgan's blockchain and that's an approved government blockchain that they can track every single transaction. Is this how we were? I'm just going to leave off with some questions here. Is this how we're going to advance in the future? Are these the things that we should be thinking about as we move forward and we hold these cryptocurrencies? What are the most healthiest and beneficial ways to provide remedies to these concerns that this man has? To me, are worth nothing. But for some reason, I'm spending all my clients' money on them, on this fraud. I don't know. In my opinion, that's insanity. Will this man be slapped with a fine? Will he plead insanity and say, "Yeah, I said that thing about Bitcoin, and then I went and I purchased all this Bitcoin, and I was just out of my mind, Your Honor"? What's going to happen with Quorum? Is this going to be a government-approved blockchain? Is Bank of America and Fannie Mae and Merrill Lynch and all these other people creating their own government-approved blockchains as well? What will be the eligibility requirements of a government-approved blockchain? So these are just questions to think about. These are questions to just to ponder going forward. And yeah, if you want to talk about this, post a comment below. Message me on Twitter. I just started an Instagram. Hey, that's fun. And so I'm the Smooth XP on Instagram. Send me a message if we can do that on there. I'm still learning it. So other than that, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about. Not trying to rant too long, but this is very interesting. Think about these questions. I'll be back tomorrow with another video.